somebody. What's somebody? Dance with somebody. Somebody to love me.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Oh, I want to dance with somebody. Probably a poor choice of song considering today's episode.
Oh no. I don't even
Oh,
hey, know what we're covering.
What's going on? My name is Fred Stewart. Welcome to Haunts, Graves, and Omens. I'm sorry we're late. Okay, there's a lot going on. But we're here. We're here for you. And we're going to do Beyond the Omens at some point. And I'm streaming again. But anyway, my fucking co-host is here.
It's me. Hold on. Hello? There I am. It's me. It's Taylor. Hi. How are you doing?
What's up, girl?
What's up?
And I'm vibing.
Yeah.
You know? Just, it's good to be back in the saddle. We kind of took a week off kind of by accident. It's one of those things. Our month, to like do spooky shit. And then we're like, talk about spooky shit, talk about weird shit, and then we're like, whoa, we just got slammed doing a bunch of stuff.
Yeah,
and
it'd be like that.
You know what happens, but we're here. Baby, we're here.
Okay.
Now, Taylor has a couple news stories she wants to talk about, but there's one particular thing I do want to talk about really quick. And by really quick, I mean, I'm going to fucking go crazy about it. So I'll say probably like a year ago almost at this point, there was this reports of these aliens attacking a Miami mall, and it like caused a bunch of law enforcement to respond in the area. They claimed that there was a shooting inside, things like this, but then there's no other reports of them being shots fired inside the building. A lot of people on the ground were stating that there were these tall beings that were inside the Miami mall, right? Mm-hmm. And there was just a briefing recently where a guy was like, I can't talk about a lot of this because it is still classified, but there may or may not be an individual who has cell phone footage from inside the mall with these may or may not have non-human intelligence inside.
I didn't even hear about this.
Kind of like rigmarole kind of goes around, and then he's like, basically said there was aliens inside this Miami mall. Apparently there's radio traffic that people have captured from TikToks. I can't find any specific recorded radio traffic from that incident, which is pretty strange considering a lot of it's recorded.
Right.
But it could have been on a tactical channel, I don't know, or encrypted channel. But there was a whole thing about them supposedly hearing like we have a creature inside, like things like that were popping up. And a lot of people on the ground were saying that they were seeing these aliens.
Oh, weird.
Inside the mall.
I didn't even hear about this.
Yeah, a lot of people were talking about Project Bluebeam, which is a whole fucking thing, which I think we should do Beyond the Omens so I can really just dive into that shit. Do you know about Project Bluebeam?
No.
Oh, dude. So basically, aliens, but aliens.
Apparently, I've just been under a rock because I didn't hear about any of this.
In your conspiracy cave.
Not even a conspiracy cave. I just fucking apparently tuned out the world.
Conspiracy cave, also known as you call it, your goon corner.
I've never said that. I thought you were going to say my autism nest. And I was like, yeah, that tracks.
My autism nest? Yeah. What are you, a fucking bird?
Yeah.
Explains a lot, actually, now that you say that. What kind of bird are you?
That's a good question. Probably be a pelican that can go like 17,000 miles per hour.
Pelicans can't do that.
Yes, they can.
They cannot.
They can.
Taylor.
Yes.
You have news stories?
I do. I do have news stories. I have two. Both are animal related.
Oh.
By the way. So apparently in Washington State, back on October 9th, a woman called 911 after she was inundated with 100 raccoons.
That's awesome. That's hilarious.
I guess she started like feeding these raccoons fucking years and years and years ago, and it just kind of spiraled about 6 weeks ago, where 50 to 100 raccoons came to her property demanding food. Like, they were not leaving. They were becoming aggressive. They were real hungry.
We were at dawn.
They were so hungry.
I just love the idea of them being like the night, like the that morning before the night before.
Yeah.
Where like they were like all congregate in one area, then one raccoon stands up and he's like, "Brothers, sisters, tomorrow we will ride to battle to claim what is rightfully ours."
Oh my god. This lady's food.
And then they all like chitter like.
I guess like she would pull up in her car. They would surround the car, scratch at it, surround her if she went from her front door to her car or went outside at all. They were like scratching the outside of her home. They were so demanding.
The consequences of my own actions. Can't imagine a worse fate.
She was feeding raccoons for decades. And then they just decided.
Raccoons only live for like 4 years, right?
Right. But so what I imagine happened was.
Like the lineage just passes on.
Well, I imagine that like mama raccoon goes with her little baby raccoons to go get food. And then as they grow, they're like, well, I guess I gotta go there.
Yeah.
That's where my mom always took me. And that's where I'm going to take my kids.
some boomer ass fucking raccoon. He's like 6 years old. And he's like, these youngins, they're always traveling. They're always going out and they're always digging through trash instead of going the good old feeding yard of this lady. You know, is the feeding yard too good for you?
My mom took me there. I took my kids. They took their grandkids.
Now these other younger raccoons they're always just addicted to chewing on phones and the garbage. You know, back in the day we used to just stand under this lady's porch and just scratch at the walls. But yeah, didn't law enforcement have to show up in order to get her out?
So they actually, to remove these raccoons, it's like $500 per raccoon to get them removed.
Per raccoon?
Yeah, it's something ridiculous. Like it's an absurd amount of money. I don't know how she's gonna get rid of these raccoons because I'm sorry, I'm not paying $500 per raccoon removal.
One bear. That's my answer.
I can't believe you would do that to your beloved raccoons.
Listen, 500 raccoons is too, or 500 raccoons. 500 raccoons is too many raccoons.
Oh, this is too many.
But 50 to 100 raccoons is way too many raccoons. Like one is like, that's cute. I love this little guy.
I mean, listen.
I
handle like 10.
One of my fondest memories was sitting crisscross and feeding little baby raccoons pieces of hot dogs, while the mom just stared at me and I tossed her snacks and her babies were just like right in front of me. And I was like, this is great. But then I was like, you guys could have had like rabies and shit.
Well, probably not.
Yeah, I kept picking up and kissing her on the mouth. So I'd pick up the big mama raccoon and go, "Mwah, you're mom," and then she would bite me as hard as she could. Considering that you're not supposed to do that to raccoons. But I did it because I love them. God damn it. I love them.
Yeah?
Yeah. You have another story?
I do.
Okay.
I was just listening to your raccoon story.
I just love raccoons. Just cute little babies.
This one.
Uh-huh.
Woman pleads guilty to trying to smuggle 29 turtles across a Vermont lake into Canada by kayak.
Disgusting. Honestly, like this woman might be as bad as who we're talking about today.
Oh shit. Apparently she was arrested the morning of June 28th at an Airbnb in Canaan as she was about to get into an inflatable kayak with a duffel bag on Lake Wallace. Agents have been notified by the RCMP that 2 other people, including a man who's believed to be her husband, had started to paddle an inflatable watercraft from the Canadian side of the lake to the United States. The agents somehow pulled her over.
Well,
the boat.
So yeah, what they do is they have a boat, and then they just drive up. And is this Canadian official stopping them, or is this American forces stopping them?
It's just
just wanna know
Border Patrol.
Oh, so it's probably American Border Patrol.
Yeah.
So yeah, they just drive up in a boat, and then just go like,
"What you got?
Yeah, what you doing? What's going on
there?" Mm-hmm. Apparently, they found 29 live eastern box turtles individually wrapped in socks. The affidavits. That's what the affidavit states. And then apparently Eastern box turtles are known to be sold on the Chinese black market for $1,000 each. I didn't know box turtles were that expensive.
Don't get into smuggling box turtles. It's not good. Listen, just don't do it.
She is scheduled to be sentenced in December and faces up to 10 years in prison and a fine of $250,000.
10 years in prison for smuggling turtles is fucking crazy. Can you imagine like you're in prison and you're just sitting there and like new person comes in, they're like, "What are you in here for?" It's like, "Cops got me again. Like robbed a store, gunpoint, like, being here for like 15."
Yeah.
It's like, damn, that's crazy. It's like, what are you here for? It's like, I strangled my husband to death in his sleep. It's like, damn, that's crazy. And it's like, what about her? And she's like sitting in a dark corner, just like pacing back and forth. It's like, she's fucking crazy, dude. Like, what you do? Smuggled a bunch of fucking turtles. It's like, give me guards.
I don't feel safe.
I need an adult.
I can talk about this because
did you know box turtles are like $1,000 each in the market?
I can talk about this because my great grandfather is long deceased, and I assume that the box turtle he picked up. They were driving back from Missouri. He picked up 3 box turtles.
And was just like, I'm gonna keep them. Yeah.
He put them in his car, drove back to Oregon, which in Missouri, box turtles are considered speed bumps. Like they don't care about them like at all. They're speed bumps.
I'm pretty sure that's what they make speed bumps out of in Missouri.
Is box turtles.
Yes.
He fucking just saw these 3 box turtles chilling in the road, and instead of like moving them to the side of the road, he was like, "I'm gonna keep these."
So let me get this straight. So your grandfather,
my great grandfather,
yes, since deceased, saw box turtles in the middle of the road.
Yeah.
And any same person maybe would have gone around them or maybe got out and moved them. He was like, "I'm gonna fucking kidnap these little bastards."
Yeah.
Like nobody's watching them.
Who's gonna tell me now?
Should have been watching your box turtles in the road.
It's like what I always say with like wild birds, like pigeons. If you catch it, you keep it. I mean,
I don't. I'm about to send an email to Fish and Wildlife because I don't think that's true. I don't think that. Listen, well, it's true.
Like with pigeons,
it is true, but I don't think it's ethical. I think
with pigeons, you catch it. There's nothing telling you can't keep that pigeon that you have since caught.
Okay, I don't know.
There's nothing out there.
I don't know if that's true.
Pigeons are just hanging out.
Most animals are just hanging out. Doesn't mean you can just take them.
You catch it, you keep it.
Well, the Galapagos turtles at the tortoises at the fucking zoo are just hanging out. If I could pick this fucker up, I'm taking him home.
Do you see where I get my if you catch it, you can keep it motto?
Was he autistic or was he just?
I don't know.
He might have been.
He could have been. Yeah, he took 3. 2 died. He kept 1. He kept the last one. And
okay.
After he died, me and my mom inherited him. And then he's now since gone. But it was pretty wild to just have a box turtle. And then like after he was gone, I was like, "Oh, I want another one." And I called to like a pet store and they were like, "No, those are fucking illegal, dude. You can't have those." And I was like, "Never mind." Hang up.
Was your child just calling places?
I was like 16.
Oh, okay. So you just had no idea.
No clue. Until someone was like, "Yeah, you can't have those in the Northwest."
Now, listen, I can't listen. Box turtles are illegal. Can't sell you one, but give you some fucking, want to spend a little bit of money. I can get you a chimpanzee. Chimp Crazy hasn't come out yet. So they're perfectly safe.
They're safe now.
They were safe then.
Yeah, like they're safe right now, but when that comes out, they're no longer safe.
Yeah, until they start feeding that one chimp a bunch of McDonald's. And then the other chimp fucking just started biting people and attack. Well, they all attack people in that story. But it's great. I gotta go set the mood for the podcast. Hold on.
What happened?
Man.
I know what we're missing. We're just missing a little bit of tunes, a little bit of ambiance.
Oh baby, it's spooky time.
It's spooky time. I have no idea what we're covering. So this will be interesting. I'm very curious.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that! I did it.
Yeah, good job, vamping Tay.
I
up
did
top.
so good.
Wow, how do you get worse at high fiving? See, you
Can we hold hands?
No, we can't. Especially after that. Definitely
Can
not.
we retry?
Sure. All right, Tay, up top. Nice. Stop trying to hold my hand.
No, can we hold
For the month of October, I wanted to. Obviously, we talk about ghosts and spooky shit all year long, which we're gonna do our fun little creepy pasta episodes that we do. We'll do one this month. We'll have fun with it. Maybe get some guests, tell some stories. It'll be fun. But I wanted to bring out the gold star sheet of worst people imaginable. It's a long list.
It is. It is very long.
A lot of senators, but this person is local to us.
Oh,
Yes, local.
interesting.
They are a serial killer, and if you've already read the episode title, then you know.
I don't.
But you don't know, Tay.
You tried to give me a hint, and I was like, fucking.
This will most likely be a two-part series. This is the story of Jerome Henry, a.k.a. Jerry Brudos,
Oh, okay. I know the name, but I don't.
a.k.a. the shoe fetish killer.
I don't know a lot about
You ready for a lot of fucked up murder?
it. Sure.
All right, dude. You ready to get into it?
I'm ready to get into it.
We're not holding hands. Great. So, Jerome Henry Brudos was born in Webster, South Dakota on January 31st, 1939, the younger of two sons born to Mary Aline and Henry Irvin Brudos. His mother had wanted her second child to be born a girl, and was very displeased when she gave birth to a son, or another son. She would frequently emotionally abuse and belittle her younger son, making no secret of the fact to Brudos she wanted a daughter as opposed to another son. By contrast, Brudos' mother doted on her older son, James. Just doted on him. Fucking love James. Right?
Yeah.
Jerry can kick rocks.
Great.
Yes.
That's soft.
It's a great start. So the Brudos family lived a modest and chill lifestyle. The Brudos' father typically held casual and often seasonal employment, whereas his mother was a homemaker. Although Henry was a short-tempered individual, he was seldom physically abusive towards or emotionally critical of his children, whereas Marie was harsh, matriarchal, and prudish individual who reserved the majority of her hate against Jerry.
It's not his fault.
No. Of course not.
Like,
He's still a piece of shit.
well, right.
Later on. But as a child.
It's not his fault that he's a boy.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, that's not how that works.
That's not how that works. And, I like how in the notes it just says he was seldom physically abusive towards
Yeah,
his children.
I was gonna bring that up. I was like, seldom.
Listen,
On occasion.
it's also the 40s, the 50s. Physical abuse is a thing, but that was probably more of boy, I'm gonna fucking give you a whooping. Better knock that shit off.
Yeah.
Put him, kind of doing those old school kind of ways where mom was like, all right, fucker. Like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna beat the fucking brakes off you. I was like, why? I don't know. I don't like your fucking face. And just does it.
Jesus, yeah. I mean, it was kind of that time.
Yes.
Very not great.
So, as a direct result of his lacking of maternal apprentice, as a young child, Brudos formed a close friendship with a neighbor woman of similar age to his mother. This individual was both compassionate towards and accepting of him throughout his visits, and Brudos later confessed to occasionally fantasizing that she was his mother instead.
I mean, that's fair.
Yeah.
I get that.
Mm-hmm. However, the woman suffered from diabetes, and her declining health forced her to cease permitting visits from him or other schoolhood children. Shortly thereafter, a female childhood friend, the same age, died of tuberculosis, leaving Brudos inconsolable, feeling as if he had lost the mother that he never really had.
Yeah.
Right? Brudos was an unremarkable, sickly child with few friends who had frequently complained of throat pains and migraines. He typically achieved average grades as opposed to academically achieving a popular brother. You know, James is always better. James is always doing this. James is better than you in this. James is better than you in that. And that is all he's been told throughout his entire childhood. It's like, why can't you be like your brother? Why can't you be like him?
Maybe because you're a piece of shit towards me. I think that's a crazy concept.
Right?
Maybe if you'd raised him with the same love and compassion you did for your older son, that wouldn't be an issue.
I agree. So when he got to high school, Brudos remained an unremarkable individual, both to his peers and teachers alike. He was just kind of another face in the crowd. Nothing really exciting about Jerry at this time. He seldom engaged in extracurricular activities, although he is known to have been a secretary-treasurer of the youth club in his early teens. Largely due to Henry Brudos' seasonal work, the family frequently moved homes, typically throughout and around the Pacific Northwest, throughout Brudos' childhood before permanently settling in Salem, Oregon, in a property that is also located upon farmland. So, let's get into, it's about to be one of the weirdest sentences I've ever said. Let's get into Jerry's fetishes. So,
Great.
yes, because it plays a very key part in this story.
Oh, yeah.
Brudos had a lifelong shoe and foot fetish. He later recollected his fascination for women's shoes and feet sourced from an incident where he, aged approximately 5 years, observed the teenage daughter of a family friend lying asleep on his bed, having been allowed to do so by Brudos' parents after she complained of feeling unwell. According to Brudos, he was, quote, transfixed by the sight of a girl's high-heeled shoes and attempted to pry them off her feet. The girl awoke and simply told him to leave the room. And he did.
Okay.
It's kind of how the little ember starts in his brain, right?
Yeah.
On another occasion, at the age of 5, Brudos discovered a pair of leather high-heeled shoes with rhinestone-studded clasps while exploring a local junkyard. Naturally.
As you do.
As you do. That's where they spawn. Brudos.
Shoes or children?
Brudos took these shoes home. He slipped them on his feet to show his mother. In response, Brudos' mother shrieked that he was wicked and ordered him to remove the shoes and return them to the fucking junkyard. Take that shit back. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, I had a feeling that's where that was going to go.
Natural reaction.
Yeah, no, I'm glad she didn't overreact.
Glad nobody overreacted. And I guarantee you when he got back, he was either probably beaten. He was probably beaten then as well. Yeah. Upon learning her son secretly retained the footwear and frequently secretly wore the garments, Brudos' mother severely beat him before burning the attire in his presence. Just reaffirming into his brain, what you're doing is shameful and you should feel ashamed.
Yeah.
Not great.
Yeah,
not great at the age of 5.
No.
As a child. So, 2 years after this incident, Brudo attempted to steal the high-heeled shoes from his first grade teacher. When caught, Brudos confessed to his actions, although when asked why, he claimed to not know why he had attempted to steal the footwear. By the onset of puberty, Brudos had also developed a fetish for women's underwear and lingerie. According to Brudos, he was introduced to the practice of viewing, fondling, and smelling female underwear by a neighborhood boy with several older sisters, and with whom he occasionally sneaked in the girls' bedrooms to perform these acts, which invoked deep erotic feelings from which he initially failed to understand.
Oh boy.
Oh boy. Right. As a teenager, Brudos would steal underwear from female neighbors upon a moment of opportunism, and some of which he would later wear.
Oh.
By the onset of puberty, Brudos had still not learned of the act of sexual intercourse, although he became obsessed with viewing a naked female peer. However, he was markedly shy around girls in his neighborhood and at school. Moreover, his height and severe acne further decreased his confidence in his ability to appeal to girls. By approximately 1953, Brudos, still oblivious to the act, of intercourse, began to just start fucking cranking it, just continuously.
Great.
Right? I don't think that part's weird at all. Because you're a boy going through puberty. That's what happens.
I don't know anything about boys going through puberty, so
You're not going through puberty, right? And then you're like, I really like these Hot Wheel cars. These are fucking cool. I fucking dig these things. And then one day you wake up and you go, I want to jerk off all the time. And it's fucking awesome. Like, that's all that goes through your head.
yeah.
And then you're like, I gotta talk to girls. And then they'd be like, hey, Taylor, hey, what's up?
So.
Okay, you're scary. And then you're like, maybe Hot Wheel. What if I like jerk off and play with my Hot Wheel cars? And then that's how people end up fucking cars. Now, I've seen the episode of Taboo. Have you?
No.
It's a great episode.
I don't think I've actually watched that show. I know of it.
Incredible.
But I don't think I've
Incredible.
watched it.
I fucking love that series. Lady that falls in love with the Ferris wheel or carnival ride.
Oh,
Awesome.
I've seen
Awesome.
clips of that.
Takes
Yeah.
the grease and like rub it on her face. It's
Ew.
just fucking playing disc jockey. It's awesome. It's hilarious.
Oh my god.
Anyways, getting off topic. So he basically was like, I'm gonna start fucking jerking off, dude. Like, he's going through puberty, right?
Yeah.
And he later claimed that when he started jerking off, couldn't happen, wasn't happening.
Oh.
As a teenager, although he frequently experienced wet dreams. Right, which is very abnormal.
Yeah.
Right, especially someone going through puberty. Usually, that's like a lot of high testosterone, a lot of fucking hormones and shit flowing through somebody's body. Like, it's like all this stuff's going crazy. It's just something is wrong with the chemicals up there. Something is happening, right? It's not necessarily like a terrible thing. It could be something if it was like it's modern day, and they're like. There would be like other signs that something was happening.
Yeah.
Like, oh, your walls don't glow in the dark like they're supposed to. It's nothing like that. It's something like that. But there would be some other chemical imbalance somewhere. Or something's happening psychologically or whatever.
Yeah.
It was probably the fact that he was probably getting beat and just belittled on constantly.
Yeah.
So when his mother discovered semen stains on his bed sheets, she was like, shame.
Of course, yes.
Shame on you. Forced to wash the sheets. It was like, go fucking take those off. Go wash your sheets. Shame on you. Disgusting. Not a good move.
No.
I mean, you don't want to be like, you don't want to be like a fucking like starch and just be like, you just, Be like, that's when you just sit them down and be like, talk about the birds and the bees. A long time ago, the battle between the birds and the bees. They give him this epic tale. And they go, what does it have to do? What does this have to do with like, what does this have to do with like, stuff? And they're like, I don't know, dude. Talk to your mom.
You wanted to hear about the birds and the bees. I told you.
You wanted to hear the epic tale. I told you. You must pass down the traditions. Anyway, so obviously right now there's a lot going on with Jerry Brudos, right? He's being beaten. He's being belittled. He's being told you're not good enough by his mom. Dad's staying out of it. He's working jobs. He's doing stuff. He's in Salem, Oregon.
He's being kind of your typical...
Learning how to ride a unicycle on the weekends.
Oh.
He's just doing stuff.
I mean, yeah, I was going to say, he's being like your typical, like, 1940s dad, where they're kind of like...
Yeah, 1950s, 1940s dad was just like...
He's like, I'm just going to go sit in my chair and... Oh, whatever happens, happens.
Yep. I'm going to watch the TV until it turns to static.
Yeah.
Exactly what you're doing. And so his offenses kind of start to ramp up pretty quick.
Okay.
So he is having all this like sexual like urges and things like that, right? And Brudos begins to stalk local women in his early teens.
Oh.
Several of whom he discreetly photographed. He also claimed, I pressed the wrong keybind. He also stole and retained numerous items of lingerie and footwear. However, none of these initial offenses were violent in nature, although by his mid-teens, he began developing violent fantasies of forcibly possessing a woman.
Ooh.
In his late teens.
Not great.
Now, with this particular, with Jerry Brudos, because like they talk about the McDonald triangle, right?
Yeah.
And I tried to find, cause they say it's debunked, but like there's characteristics, but it kind of falls like outside of that, right? A lot of the cases, because like usually like you hear a lot about like bedwetting or like head trauma or, things like this. But he just, something in him at the age of 5 was like, shake, 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 shake.
Yeah.
I just got that fucking bee's nest rattled up.
I do think part of it has to do with like his mother. A lot of it has to do with his mother.
A lot of it has to do with his mother.
And the abuse.
Absolutely.
I think plays a huge crucial role.
Mm-hmm.
And I think being taught at such a young age of like things that like now especially you're like, oh, my 5-year-old son like put on a pair of my shoes. It's kind of funny, like,
yeah.
But she was like, I'm just gonna beat my son.
Yeah. Well, like now it would be like, oh, look at this funny TikTok I'm gonna make. Like, isn't this funny and cute? And the comments are like, yes, queen. It's like super wholesome.
Yeah.
Back then, it's like 5-year-old son comes wearing shoes and they're like, sinner.
Like, I think having
it's like, whoa. Everybody needs to calm down for a second.
I think having those kinds of things implanted in your head at such a young age that those things are taboo, those things are not normal, whatever, it definitely plays a huge part.
Oh, it plays a huge
psyche.
Part. Yeah. I mean, pretty much like, what do they say? Look, your brain stops like truly like developing till like 25 or something like that.
Yeah.
So it's like
25 is when your brain stops. Like that's your.
Yeah. So it's like in that age range of like 5, I would say like 5 to like, I don't know, like 16.
5 is when you gain consciousness. So.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's about when like memories start forming and sticking. I
have a memory just going back as long, like far back as when I was like 3. I got that. That's a memory, but I remember gaining consciousness around 5. And I remember I think we've talked about this, but I remember waking up and being in my room and I'm like, where the fuck am I? And then I'm like, huh? Like I don't recognize anything.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it was just like, oh, that's my grandma's house. And then I'm like, huh? And then grandma was like, you want food? And I'm like, yeah, well, yeah. That's my fucking grandma, dude. Yeah.
Your like moment of gaining consciousness is like so quick. You're like, oh, yeah, no, can I get that fucking sandwich?
Shit, dude. Let me get that sandwich, dude, and then I'm gonna go hang out and fucking feed the horses, dude. I'm gonna go give them a bite of my sandwich. That's what I'm gonna do.
I think my first like memory that I can kind of remember is like 4.
Mm-hmm.
But you definitely like aren't a person until you're about 5.
Yeah, nothing. It's like when you're trying to start a car in the winter, like, just trying to cold start it.
Yeah.
It's like, God damn it.
Yeah, that's basically what it's like.
And then somebody goes out there, lifts the hood, and fucking checks the wires. Come back in, like, 6, and then you're like, there we go. And it runs really good.
Yeah.
And then you start getting in your 20s, and it's like,
your 20-year-old car is starting to struggle.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, like, I think that especially that couple of moments when he was 5 are like some of the biggest.
Oh yeah, the biggest triggers to this.
Like key factors of why he is the way he is.
If anybody is that listens to this podcast, which, listen,
I'm sorry.
Yes, but if anyone in this podcast has like a degree or studies like brain stuff, like psychology.
I was gonna say psychology.
Well, it's just like broad. Keep it broad. Brain stuff. Send us an email, and I would love to interview you. Talk about serial killers. What goes on up there? Is it what they say it is? Is it just a gerbil on a wheel?
I don't think anyone said that.
I don't know. So, at the age of 16, what do you think Jerry did?
I think he probably was maybe acting on his.
If you guessed dug an underground tunnel and alcove close to his family home, you'd be correct.
It's not at all what I guessed.
Whatever a 16-year-old boy does, they yearn for the mines. You know?
It's not even like when you're in the snow and you dig out like a
little igloo, and you're like, this is fun. No, he just went outside one day in Salem, Oregon, outside of his family, right outside of his family property, probably in the woods, and then was like kicking rocks and shit. And he's like,
I need a shovel.
I need to start digging fucking tunnels in this bitch. Look at all this prime real estate. Yeah.
Yeah. It's
So.
Jesus.
Yeah. The reason he dug it is not for anything super fun. Like, he didn't dig it to like go smoke weed with his friends. He dug it because he wanted to go down there and jerk off and think about holding women captive. He would spend numerous hours within his lair at the age 16, mentally hoping to entrap somebody inside of there.
Oh.
Although no women were confined to this location, Brudos did lure a neighborhood girl to his bedroom to facilitate his sexual fantasies at the age of 16. Almost immediately upon luring the girl into his bedroom, upon innocence pretenses, Brudos exited the bedroom, only to reappear minutes later wearing a mask and brandishing a knife. He forced the girl to strip naked before taking several photographs before she fled. Minutes later, Brudos reappeared wearing his original shirt, with his hair in disarray and a minor scuff on his arm and cheek, claiming the intruder had locked him in the family barn at knife point. What the fuck?
Jesus.
Yeah. So he basically went from just having these fantasies and
Building tunnels.
making a fucking like making a Saddam Hussein style tunnel on his fucking family farm. To just immediately ramping up to like super scary, violent sexual fantasy.
Yeah.
Immediately.
It's crazy.
And that pretty much stays consistent of the story.
Okay.
It just is like.
So it just went from like 0 to 100.
Yeah, basically like there was this match that was lit, this tiny flame.
Yeah.
Of his sexual desires, and then one day he was like, "How about a gallon of gasoline?" And just fucking woof. And then he's like, "How about 50 more gallons of gasoline?" And that's just what happens.
Okay.
it just gets so much worse.
Oh boy.
So much worse.
Oh boy.
So, within a year of his first known violent offense, Brudos had established a pattern of abducting girls his own age or younger, typically at knife point, forcing them into the barn upon his family farm before ordering them to disrobe before photographing them. He would lock these girls in a corn crib before reappearing several minutes later, wearing different clothing, with his hair combed in a different way and fashion. He would then release a girl, explaining it was Ed, Jerry's twin brother, and feigned shock on her account before her ordeal before asking, "He didn't hurt you, did he?" Brudos would then claim his twin brother Jerry was in therapy. It's basically just trying to like say it's like this alter ego. Yeah. This is going to set. So Jerry was in therapy. This is going to set him back for a bit. Before pleading with the girl not to inform anyone of her ordeal and promising to locate and destroy the camera Jerry had used. None of these girls were subjected to physical sexual assault as beyond tentative fondling, and all apparently agreed, as none have been informed by authorities of these experiences. So basically, they were probably just terrified of him, to be honest.
Yeah.
That would be my guess. Where it's like, it's clearly him. And then, like, goes back and he's like, I don't know what happened. And you're like, great, get me the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Like, never come back. On one occasion, in April of 1956, Brudos persuaded a 17-year-old girl to accompany him on a date. Upon driving the girl to a deserted road, he ordered her to undress. The girl refused, whereupon Brudos dragged her from the car and proceeded to beat her, breaking her nose. The girl's screams and general altercation attracted the attention of a young couple driving by who stopped and intervened. Thankfully.
Yeah.
Brudos lamely claimed the girl had fallen from the car before changing his story to claim the girl was hysterical and had been attacked by some weirdo he had overpowered. Nobody fucking believes him.
I mean, that's fair.
Obviously.
Yeah.
The couple drove the two to the nearest police station where Brudos admitted to attacking the girl, but claimed that his intention had been simply to intimidate her into removing her clothes in order so he could photograph her. Not good. No, and
I'm gonna assume that this is...
Did he think that was gonna go well with the cops? I'm just confused. Like,
he's like, listen. If I'm honest, does that get me anywhere?
Yeah, in fucking cuffs and like a Hannibal Lecter mask, you fucking psycho.
I'm gonna be honest here.
I kept the shoes. But when I was 5, kept those.
I might have kept another pair too after that, but
yeah, it's so it is just insane that he was like that in his rationale. This was like, oh, this is my reasoning. You know,
if I give you my reasoning, you'll clearly understand why, and I don't think that this could go badly for me.
Yeah, it's insane. So he denied having ever committed any previous acts of this nature and insisted his temper had simply gotten better of him.
Okay. Yeah, that's not true, but okay.
So law enforcement was like, So Salem PD, they're just like, So you're going for assault and battery.
Tracks.
So that's what you're going for. A subsequent search of Brudos' bedroom revealed extensive collection of female clothing, plus numerous Polaroid photographs of teenage girls, one of whom they were able to identify. The girl was contacted and revealed her ordeal at the hands of Jerry's twin brother in the previous August. Brudos remained in custody to be referred to the Polk County Juvenile Department. So they found everything right away.
I've never done this before.
But here's all this mountain of evidence. This is just him as a fucking teenager. Yeah. We haven't even got...
Which is crazy.
We haven't even got to the fucking real fucked up shit. This is all fucked up shit, but like, it gets so much worse.
That's crazy.
It's crazy. So, Brudos was treated as a juvenile offender and sent to undergo psychiatric evaluations within the Oregon State Hospital, which, coincidentally enough, I have a friend who actually lives in an apartment complex that the Oregon State Hospital used to be on.
Oh.
Or like one of the psychiatric hospitals. Pretty sure it was Oregon State.
Yeah.
But it was the psychiatric hospital around that time.
That's crazy.
And then once I think Reagan was like, shut them down, and release all the fucking people in the streets, they were like, level that bitch. Build an apartment complex. So he just lives there.
They build apartment complexes on anything. They're like apartment complexes being built is like Spirit Halloween. Oh, there's an empty spot? Apartment complex.
It's true.
Am I wrong?
I mean, no, I don't think so. 5 people were murdered here last week. I'm like, we get a 3-bedroom, 1-bath in there. I think we can do that. So he entered the facility on April 16, 1956, where he remained for 9 months while permitted to leave the facility to attend high school.
Great.
Did everybody understand that? He is in the Oregon State Hospital for psychiatric evaluations for trying to sexually assault people. And then they're like, go to high school. Great. While at this facility, Brudos was subjected to a range of evaluations. These tests concluded he was a depressive individual who suffered a schizotypal personality disorder, but was not grossly mentally ill or suffered from delusions. Okay. Furthermore, the doctors at this facility concluded Brudos' sexual fantasies revolved around a hatred he had harbored towards his mother and women in general.
The serial killer hates women?
Yes.
No.
Shocking, I know. And I'll put it up on the socials, but there's a photo of Brudos 1 year after his release.
I can't see.
That's what he looked like. Isn't that interesting? I'll put it up on the socials. You'll see. But upon completion of his evaluations, Brudos returned to live with his parents. An average scholar, he graduated 142nd out of a class of 202 students from the Corvallis High School in 1957. 2 years later, in March 1959, Brudos joined the Army, where he trained as communications technician. Although he became highly skilled in his profession, his military service was largely unremarkable, and he gained a reputation among his fellow soldiers as something of a fantasist who repeatedly claimed to be a casual sexual relationship with a, quote, beautiful Korean girl whom he stated sneaked into his bed every evening. And they're like, sure, Jerry. And they're like, yeah, that's great.
Okay, Jerry. Sure. We believe you.
Yeah. Now, do you want to see me light my hands on fire?
What?
This is things I assume happen in barracks.
Oh.
All the TikToks I see.
I mean, fair.
Where they're just like hurting each other. They're like, move, throw this couch out the window and I catch it. Guys, I'm sick. It's awesome. So Brudos was discharged from the Army in October 1959, having been classified as a psychologically unfit for military service. He moved back into his parents' 2-bedroom home in Corvallis, Oregon, and soon found employment at a local radio station as an electrical engineer. To his colleagues, Brudos was an eminent, proficient, and conscientious employee who conveyed a mild-mannered demeanor, yet seemed to lack any ambition to advance himself despite being a licensed broadcast technician. Basically, he didn't really give a shit. He just kind of went with the flow. Not making a lot of waves.
Okay.
Kind of that it was throughout his entire life.
Yeah.
Not making a lot of waves. Not really, just kind of being remarkable, except when we tried to fucking,
Well.
you know.
Apparently, after he did a stint in the psychiatric hospital, they just forgot.
Yeah.
Just like, oh.
Pretty much. So, although, throughout the years, Brudos resided with his parents. His mother allowed him to sleep in the second bedroom while his older brother was at college. When his brother returned home, he was forced to sleep in the shed through their property.
What the fuck? What?
Yep. Everybody get that? Everybody got that?
Okay.
Uh-huh.
They couldn't like let him sleep on the couch?
Nope. Jerry, you're sleeping in the fucking shed.
That's wild.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
On one occasion, in approximately 1960, Brudos observed a young woman wearing revealing clothing. He discreetly followed this woman into her Salem apartment, where he strangled her into semi-conscious state before fleeing with her shoes.
Mm.
This woman was not raped by Brudos.
Okay.
Just came up, strangled her, stole her shoes, left. But he's escalating.
He is escalating.
More and more. And who fucking knows what he did when he was in the service?
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah. I can't believe he even was in the service, considering he was at a psychiatric facility.
You know, I think during this time there was when he went in the military in like the 50s,
Don't ask me what war it was. I don't know.
You have a phone. Like it could have been like the Korean War. Was it Vietnam? I think Vietnam was in the 60s.
I don't know when anything is ever.
The Korean War was after. I don't know. I don't remember. History. Shortly thereafter, Brudos observed another young woman wearing high-heeled shoes. He attempted to overpower and strangle this woman. However, this individual fought back. Started kicking the shit out of him. Brudos then fled the scene with only one of her shoes.
Okay.
He retained the footwear of both women in the shed, frequently sleeping with the attire. Brudos was not arrested for either of these offenses.
Okay. Great.
Yes. Just could not be tracked down. Couldn't find him.
Sounds good. I like
Right.
that idea.
So, approximately 1 year after gaining employment at the radio station, Brudos became acquainted with a 17-year-old girl named Ralphine Schwindler. He became acquainted with Schwindler via a teenage boy who was being an amateur electronics enthusiast. Frequently visited the radio station to observe and question Brudos as to aspects of his work, and who had jokingly remarked about his shyness around female employees. According to Brudos, he jokingly remarked to the youth to find him a girlfriend. To his surprise, the teenager agreed and took him home to meet his sister.
Okay.
Yeah. And listen, not everybody knows that fucking Jerry's a weirdo. You know?
Yeah.
They don't know that he's strangling people and stealing their shoes.
I guess, yeah.
You know? They're just like, he's just a quiet guy who works at the radio station and gets nervous around girls. You know? And he's just like, but come on, Jerry. Come on, man. You know? He's just like, oh. And like, oh, I'll take you to be my sister. The classic 60s move.
Yeah.
You know? And then, like, if it was like a Hallmark movie, they'd be like, and they lived together for 500 years.
You know who I want in my
before
family
they turned to
forever?
ash. Uh-huh.
You know who I could see having in my family forever?
A serial killer? Yeah. Yeah.
Like, no thanks.
No thanks.
I'll pass.
Yeah. I think I'm good on that. So, so they go home, meets the sister, they start hanging out, they start going on dates, and on September 30th, 1961, Brudos and Schwindler, 1 month pregnant at the time, get married. Fucking happens. Gets married.
Okay.
The newlyweds initially resided here in Portland, Oregon, before relocating to a small house in a suburb of Salem in the summer of 1968. So, lived in Portland for quite a few years.
Yeah.
You know, and then moved back home to Salem, stayed down there. The marriage ultimately produced 2 children, a daughter, Teresa, and a son, Brian. To supplement the family income, Brudos occasionally repaired vehicles in the family garage. Brudos was never physically or emotionally abusive towards his wife, although in the early years of their marriage, he insisted she would frequently walk around the house, perform housework naked, save for a pair of high-heeled shoes, often photographing her before engaging in intercourse.
Okay.
Not the most insane thing in the world. You know?
I've heard worse.
Yeah. I want you to bear crawl. I want you to bear crawl around the house. I want you to bark me awake. You know? Even that, like, that's insane. But, like, that's not like, I want you to cut my face open. Like, it's not him being fucking insane.
Yeah.
It's just him, like, I could see his wife being like, oh, it's kind of cool, you know, whatever. And then, like, oh, then, they, you know, and they produce kids. But, you know, not knowing that he's going out and doing horrific shit. And so it begs the question, did his urges die down at the time of his, you know, him getting a wife?
Yeah.
Like everything was simmer. Or was it all just the shadow behind the man? Just waiting, right? So for several years, his wife acquiesced to these proclivities, and Brudos is not known to have committed any sexual offenses. So, I had them in my notes. I just don't read ahead. I always like to just fly off the handle, just be like, whoa, ketamine. So, by the mid-19... Huh?
Did you say ketamine?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
You were so fast. Huh? Fucking took me off guard. There was like no, what? Huh? Just, huh? I was not.
Bada bing, bada boom, bada boom. Ketamine.
Are you on ketamine?
I fucking wish. By the mid-1960s, Teresa Brudos was a toddler, thus demanding more physical attention and nurturing from her mother. As such, Ralph Lean had begun to refuse to participate in nude household, high-heel modeling, photography, and sexual rituals should her daughter view her parents natural.
Yeah.
Right. Furthermore, Brudos had begun putting on weight. His wife would later state that although she never informed her husband, his physical appearance had begun to repel her. He started getting a little thick. He's getting real thick.
Oh well. I mean, it happens though.
It happens. You know, listen.
Women gain weight when taking care of kids.
Yeah.
Having kids.
Men
tend to gain weight too.
Yeah.
Also, people age. I know that's a crazy concept.
Now me, I'm going to live forever.
I know it's a crazy concept for people on the internet that people age, but...
Like people seeing Gerard way from Mike McRomance and they're like,
dude!
They're like, what happened? It's like, he's old.
Dude, okay, but recent, like, from when we were young, Fess, he looks fucking young.
Yeah.
Like, he, like...
It's called the power of a haircut.
I wasn't expecting it.
He got a haircut.
I know, but he's been, like...
They're like, oh my God, he's so young. Like, I think he's, like, in his 40s.
I've been, like, kind of expecting to see him, like, how when we saw My Chem, like, he's got some grays and, you know, he's obviously put on a little weight because he's touring and it's hard on the body.
I want him to look like Thor in that one Avengers movie. You know?
Yeah.
Like beer belly, big beard.
That's
how I want it to look.
Like, I get it. People totally age. But I was not expecting, like, the revamp that he did. I was like, oh, fuck.
So, Brudos, so it's getting a little thickums.
Yeah.
His wife's like, ooh, I don't know. As such, although Ralph Lean remained loyal to her husband to engage in intercourse increasingly infrequently, with his wife devoting more time to her daughter and social activities with female friends, Brudos spending increasing amount of time either working about the house or in his garage workshop, devoting focus upon his various electronics projects. In May of 1967, as his wife was in the hospital giving birth to their second child, Brudos discreetly followed a young woman wearing high-heeled shoes to her home. He waited until nightfall before entering the apartment, whereupon he proceeded to choke her into consciousness. While his second child is being born, his son, she's in labor at the hospital, or had just got done out of labor, and he is strangling a woman in her apartment.
Great.
Right.
I'm just gonna say this, like, obviously not doing that, but if you were to ever miss our child being born, I'm done. That's it. If I got to do that shit by myself, I'm done. Like, that's it. I'm not doing that. That's bullshit.
Taylor, I'm so sorry I'm late. There was a man out front doing balloon animals. I can only afford to get 2.
How much were the balloon animals?
$1.
Great.
It was buy one get one. I had a singular $1.
Okay. Great.
Do you want the dog or do you want the sword?
I wanted you here.
Not the answer I'm looking for. If you don't want the sword, I'm gonna keep the sword.
I'm gonna pop it.
You can get the free one. I'm keeping my $1 sword.
I just think that's such bullshit, though.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, of course it's bullshit. He's fucking went into a fucking woman's apartment and strangling someone to death, and
Well,
and then she's not gonna be like, Jerry, you know, like,
well, like,
honey,
okay.
I'm sorry, I got caught up.
So, like, obviously she doesn't know what's going on, but, like, I can't imagine being alone.
You can't give birth to your fucking kid and your fucking husband's not there.
Yeah, no.
You're gonna ask some questions.
Well, yeah, but he's probably got an excuse that, like, kind of pans out in her mind.
Yeah.
Other than I was strangling a lady.
Yeah. Like I saw a man out front with this thing that they call a hacky sack. I was captivated.
I watched a man hacky sack
I stood
for 8 hours.
I was gonna say I stood in the parking lot captivated for 1 hour and 45 minutes watching this man hacky sack, and then I went home and took a nap because there was too much excitement. And then I came back. He was still there.
Hacky sacking away.
Yeah. No, this time he had the balloon animal cart. Now.
Oh, okay.
Anyway. Brudos would later state his intentions upon entering the household did not initially include him raping this woman, but the sight of her body and her being there aroused him to such a degree that he did do that before fleeing the apartment with her shoes. Escalating even more. It just continues to escalate even more.
Where is he keeping these shoes that he's keeping?
I have no fucking clue.
Like, are they in the garage?
Probably.
Where he's working? Like,
Probably.
I don't know. It's just like, where the fuck is he keeping these shoes that his wife's not noticing? Because, like, she should be noticing a bunch of shoes popping up, right?
Yeah.
Like,
And,
he's not just giving them to her and being like, I got you a gift, you know?
Like, no, these aren't my size. And he's like, okay, I'll take them. And just, like, runs into the garage.
I'll take them back to the store tomorrow, don't worry. Like, I don't think he's doing that.
No.
So I just want to know where the fuck he's keeping all these shoes and these trophies.
What's his plan if he walks into the house and he's carrying these shoes? Is it just going to be like under his jacket and be like, you don't see anything?
Well, see, this last time he was in the clear because his wife was still at the hospital.
Yeah, giving birth to his son. Yeah.
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 Obviously. So he was in the clear that time.
Sneakerheads are grazing. You know?
Maybe he was entering through the garage.
I don't know, dude.
So that way,
does it matter?
I don't know. I'm just like, where the fuck is he keeping all of
Did he take a bus? I don't fucking know.
I just want to know where he's keeping them because there's no way, like, if he was keeping them in the house that she wouldn't know.
It has to be in the fucking garage. Has to be. Has to be there. Or he's hiding them somewhere else. So the fucking steals this woman's shoes after raping her, right?
Yeah.
And I gotta adjust this camera. Excuse me. I'm so sorry. Hi, it's me. The following year, Brudos was arrested by Corvallis police when he was on the grounds of the Oregon State University's women's dormitory.
Oh, no.
He was charged with stealing women's clothing and was wearing pedal pushers, high heel shoes, and women's underwear at the times of arrest.
Okay. Great.
Great.
It wasn't him, though. Obviously.
Clearly. And if you're still with us for this episode, and you're still a part of this episode and you're listening, and I keep saying it's only going to get worse.
Yeah.
It's only going to get worse. Time to talk about murder.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. Between 1968 and 1969, Brudos abducted and strangled 4 young women and attempted to abduct a minimum of 2 others. 3 victims were murdered in the basement or garage workshop of Brudos' home, 1 inside of his vehicle. All of Brudos' victims were abducted and murdered in order to satisfy both his dominant and possess young women to satiate his sexual fantasies.
Yeah, track.
That much we've established.
Yes.
Holy Spirit.
She's here. She's here for naps.
Yes. Following the act of murder, each victim was subjected to a ritual of dressing in different lingerie and footwear, during which Brudos would arrange the body in suggestive and provocative positions prior to photographing their body and engaging in masturbation. Often while staring at or caressing the victim's feet and ankles after dressing the body in different lingerie and footwear. Each victim was also subjected to acts of necrophilia, and 3 were mutilated after death, with Brudos retaining the severed body parts to feel his fetishes in addition to expressing his quote-unquote dominance.
No.
All were disposed in the Willamette River, although their shoes and underwear were retained and stowed within the household garage, which Brudos' wife and children were forbidden from entering without first announcing their intention via an intercom system he had installed. Does that answer your question?
It sure does, and that's so fucking sus.
Yeah.
Like, I hate that.
It would be one thing if he was like, had like an intercom system and he's like, I am working on something dangerous in here. Like, I am like, maybe he's like he fucking is like building backyard weapons or some shit. He's making a fucking cannon. He's a forge or something like that.
Yeah.
Something cool. You know?
Yeah.
But no, instead has body parts and things in there.
Fucking
gross. So we're going to talk about Linda Kathleen Slauson. Slauson was a 19-year-old door-to-door encyclopedia saleswoman from Aurora, Oregon, whom Brudos encountered as he worked in his yard on January 26, 1968. She inadvertently entered his property, having confused his address with the neighbors on the belief that she had an appointment with the homeowner to potentially sell an encyclopedia. Upon hearing the reason for Slauson's visit, Brudos feigned interest into purchasing a set of encyclopedias to lure her into the basement of his home. As Slauson sat on a stool and began advocating the sale of her encyclopedias, Brudos bludgeoned her about the head with a section of wood and manually strangled her to death before concealing her body beneath the staircase to the basement.
Jesus.
Yeah. That's a lot.
That is a lot.
It's fucking insane. He then asked his mother to take his daughter from the house to purchase hamburgers in order that he could engage in necrophilia with the body. Ew. So, upon undressing the young woman's body, Brudos discovers Slauson was wearing red lingerie. This inspired him to retrieve a box of women's underwear and footwear he had accumulated, typically via theft, and repeatedly dress and redress her the body and differing footwear and lingerie, in addition to engaging repeated acts of necrophilia, photographing much of the process. Hours later, Brudos severed Slauson's left foot from her body with a hacksaw. He retained this severed appendage in the rear family freezer located in the basement, with view to both future usage of modeling in his extensive collection of high-heeled shoes and to feel his masturbatory fantasies. He also retained 2 encyclopedias Slauson had hoped to sell him as keepsakes, and what they call that in the serial killer field is trophies. Trophies. That's what he has. That is what the foot is. That is what the encyclopedias are. They're trophies to him.
Several.
Yes. They call those trophies. A lot of serial killers will collect IDs. They'll collect anything they want.
Yeah.
As long as it reminds them of the victim and reminds them of what they did.
Ugh.
Yes. So, Brudos later bound the remainder of Slosson's body into a heavy cylinder head and discarded her body over a rail somewhere in Marion County, adding he could not recall the precise location. Yeah. It's horrifying. It's horrifying.
Yeah.
And it only ramps up from there. So that was in January 26, 1968. So then we get to Jan Susan Whitney, a 23-year motorist who had drove home from a job in Lebanon, Oregon on November 26, 1968. Same year. Brudos later insisted this murder, much like Slosson's, was a crime of opportunity, as he would call it. He had simply encountered Whitney as he drove home from work and observed 3 individuals standing beside a broken-down Rambler outside of I-5, Interstate 5, between Salem and Albany, Oregon. After inspecting Whitney's car, Brudos claimed he could fix her vehicle, but he would need to drive her to his home to collect the necessary tools. Whitney and her traveling companions, hitchhikers, had previously picked up, agreed to accompany him. Upon the promise, the 2 hitchhikers would be first driven to their intended locations.
Ugh.
Yeah, fucking no thanks, dude. The 2 hitchhikers entered the rear of Brudos' vehicle, and Whitney was in the passenger seat. After driving the 2 hitchhikers to their intended destinations, Brudos drove Whitney to his home, which he then entered the remaining which he then entered while remaining parked in the driveway, ostensibly to retrieve the necessary tools to repair Whitney's car. Brudos then discreetly entered the rear of the vehicle as Whitney remained in the passenger seat. He then asked her to close her eyes and describe how to tie a shoelace without opening her eyes or moving her hands. Whitney agreed to the challenge. Brudos then strangled her from behind with a leather luggage strap before sexually assaulting her body inside the vehicle.
Ugh.
Horrifying.
Yeah.
He then carried her body into the garage workshop where he did his ritual, undressing the body, footwear, lingerie, necrophilia, his MO.
Yeah.
Right? So Whitney's body was left hoisted from the pulley in the workshop ceiling for 2 days. With Brudos later admitting, basically, as he said, doing basically what he felt the need to do. His quote.
Ugh.
For 2 days. Inside this house. Inside this garage.
God.
Nobody's asking questions. Why is not asking questions?
Yeah.
It's insane. He would continue his MO, redressing the body, undressing the body, different lingerie, taking photos. Brudos also severed one of her breasts to view the usage as a paperweight, although this idea was abandoned as he noted the epoxy hardener failed to fully set.
Gross.
Fucking gross. This is like the same, this is like pretty much the same caliber as like Jeffrey Dahmer,
Yeah.
as fucking like Ed Gein,
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, I can't remember off the top of my head if like Bundy would like keep appendages or not. I don't think he did.
I don't
remember. But it's like the same caliber,
Yeah.
right? So instead of putting the breast in epoxy, he stuffed it with sawdust before pinning the organ into a wooden board. According to Brudos, 2 days after Whitney's murder, a car crashed into his garage, knocking a fucking hole in the wall. A responding policeman had looked into the resultant damage, but due to the dust and debris and darkness, and the fact the hole was at ground level, failed to observe the mutilated and hanging body of Whitney.
Jesus.
It would have been over.
Yeah.
It would have been over. But somehow, they don't see it. Don't see her.
That's fucking crazy.
Yes. That evening, her body was tethered to a section of scrap railroad iron and thrown in the Willamette River along with Slosson's severed foot, which at this point had begun to decompose. Fucking terrifying.
Yeah.
It would have been over. It would have been over.
Yeah.
Would have been over. We're not done. There's more.
I figured.
There is so much more. We're going to talk Karen Alina Sprinker. Sprinker was an 18-year-old student at the Oregon State University. She was a chemistry student and abducted at gunpoint from a parking lot outside of the Meyer and Frank department store while en route to meet her mother for lunch on March 27, 1969. Brudos, dressed in woman's clothing at the time of the abduction, had impulsively driven his station wagon into the parking lot after observing a young woman wearing high-heeled shoes and a miniskirt in this location. Having parked his car and attempted to chase the individual, Brudos soon lost sight of her. En route back to his vehicle, he observed Sprinker exiting her car and walking towards the department store. He simply walks up and gets her at gunpoint to enter the vehicle, force her to enter the vehicle and accompany her to his home. And Brudos was claiming that he would not harm her. According to Brudos, Sprinker repeatedly pleaded with him not to hurt her, adding that once taken inside his workshop, she stated she would do anything wanted to prevent her not killing her. In this response, Brudos asked if she was a virgin. Sprinker replied, adding that she was experiencing her period at that time. Brudos then forced her to undress and raped her on the floor. And again, like, is the wife not home at this time?
I guess not. I mean,
it's insane.
Yeah, I don't.
Is he so organized the fact that he's missing his wife at these certain times, or is she just fucking not even paying attention, not asking any questions? Like at no point when the car fucking crashed into the garage, she didn't want to go in and like look.
No.
And be like, did it punch a hole? You know?
No, man.
She just had to like take his word for it in his fucking creepy ass dungeon that he has. Nobody's asking any questions.
Guess not.
Yes, I guess. So he begins to do his usual MO, taking photographs, lingerie, that, right? He then puts a rope around her neck, and he asks this fucking horrifying question. He puts a rope around her neck and goes, "Oh, is the rope too tight?" And she's like, "Yeah." And then he fucking hangs her in the garage.
Jesus.
Clearly getting satisfaction out of this.
Yeah.
You know? So, over the following hours, he engaged in his usual necrophilia, severing body parts and where he could form plastic molds with the organs. Later that evening, Sprinker's body was lashed to a 6-cylinder engine component and thrown in the Willamette River. What the fuck? So, that is the last of the murders that we know of.
Okay.
But there was attempted abductions.
Oh.
So, in April of 1969, Brudos attempted to abduct 2 young women on consecutive days. Both escaped and reported their ordeal to authorities. The first of these women, 24-year-old motorist Sharon Wood, encountered Brudos in the basement stairwell of a parking garage in Portland on April 21st, 1969. Wood later recalled feeling a tapping motion on her shoulder, only to turn around to observe Brudos pointing a pistol at her face, telling her not to scream.
Jeez.
Although Brudos attempted to restrain the woman with an arm lock, Wood fiercely fought against her assailant by biting and kicking him and twisting his wrist as she attempted to divert the pistol muzzle away from herself and towards her attacker while simultaneously biting deeply into Brudos' hand, causing him to slam her head into concrete floor before fleeing the scene.
Jesus.
She's a fucking gangster.
Yeah.
She is a fucking legend.
It's so unfortunate that like DNA was not
it. Yeah, it was not even wasn't a thing. Yeah.
I don't remember when exactly. Was it the 80s?
It was somewhere around there, yes. When it started being really used. I think the first criminal case was around the 80s.
Yeah.
But it just her like, because when it comes to a life and death situation where like this dude is clearly trying to fucking kidnap me and kill me.
Yeah.
And like everything I was taught as a kid, where they're like, don't fight fair.
Yeah.
Like, you fucking stab him in the fucking eyes, you stab him in the face.
Yeah.
Like, do whatever you have to do to like not be dead. Because if they fucking die and you're alive and they were trying to, that's on them, bro.
Yeah.
They were trying to fucking kill you.
Yeah.
You know? And the fact that she grabs his fucking pistol and starts pointing it back at him while biting him. It's like, go ahead and shoot, pussy. You know, like, squeeze a round off, see what happens. Like, worst it's gonna happen is I'm gonna get fucking burns on my hand.
Yeah.
You know? So, Brudos flees the scene. She contacts the police. The following day, 15-year-old girl Gloria Jean Smith was forced at gunpoint to accompany Brudos into a green Volkswagen vehicle, with Brudos informing her, I want you to come with me. I won't hurt you. I won't rape you, is what he says. He then grabbed the rear of Smith's coat and forced her to accompany him, but agreed to the child's request to let go of her quote as she walked alongside him. When Smith observed a woman working in her front lawn, she yelled and ran towards the woman, causing Brudos to flee the scene. Probably the only thing that saved her life.
Oh, absolutely.
Smith described her attacker as being in his early 30s, approximately 6 feet tall, weighing roughly 200 pounds, wearing dark glasses. All the known sex offenders matching description were investigated, but eliminated as suspects. So I was actually incorrect. There's more murder. I was off on my count. Counted wrong.
Happens.
So as we continued down this dark path, Linda Dawn Saley was a 22-year-old reformal firm secretary and part-time Portland State University student from Beaverton, Oregon, whom Brudos abducted from the grounds of the Lloyd Center shopping mall late in the afternoon of April 23rd, 1969. Saley purchased a pair of slacks and a watch band as birthday gifts for her fiance from the mall, and was returning to her vehicle when Brudos approached her, who deceived her into believing he was a police officer by displaying a fake police badge and informing her that she was being arrested for shoplifting. Although Saley protested her innocence, she agreed to accompany Brudos to his vehicle, where she was informed she was being kidnapped for ransom, which obviously was a lie. Brudos drove to his home, parked in his garage in order to Saley to follow him across the yard to his home, believing his wife and children to be with relatives. At this moment, his wife appeared on the porch and informed him she had prepared family dinner. In response, Brudos, over 10 feet from the porch, signaled to Saley to stand still. He informed his wife he would be in the house in a few moments. When then returned Saley to the garage, where she was bound with cord. Brudos then entered the house alone to eat with his family.
Jesus.
Dude just fucking kidnaps someone at gunpoint.
Yeah.
Is bringing the victim, sees his wife, and goes, I'll be right in. And just goes in and has his dinner with his family.
God.
So, Brudos finishes his dinner, returns to the garage, and finds that Saley has freed herself from her binds, but has made no further efforts to escape. She attempted to resist his immediate efforts to place a leather strap around her neck and pull her off her feet. As a question, why are you doing this to me? Saley began to scratch and kick Brudos as he lifted her off the ground by the leather strap, although soon became unconscious. He then proceeded to strangle her to death and began to do his usual necrophilia. Immediately after having the dinner with his family.
Jesus.
Having I assume the typicals, like, what did you guys do to school today?
Yeah.
Like, how was your day? and then he immediately goes into the garage and fucking strangles somebody to death.
That's wild to me.
And well, it's insane to me. Nobody hears it.
Yeah.
That's like, especially in this particular murder. You know?
Yeah.
The family's home. But nobody hears anything? It's a detached garage maybe, but I feel like you would hear something.
Yeah.
So, Brudos then hung Saleen's body by the neck upon the same workshop pulley as Brudos had his previous 2 victims. He then placed a hypodermic needle into a rib cage beneath each armpit, through which he ran electrical current in an effort to animate her body. Disappointed the experiment or failed to produce dancing or seizure-like symptoms, but simply singeing her flesh at the point of entry, Brudos gave up on his fucked up version of an experiment. He retained her body for 24 hours, engaging in necrophilia on 1 occasion, before binding her body to a vehicle's gearbox and discarding her in the Willamette River.
Jeez. Christ.
Mm-hmm. He did create molds of her breasts. He did not mutilate this section of her body as he had with previous victims for his weird sexual fantasies. Like, it just was like, didn't do it because he was like, I don't like this particular thing about it, and just didn't do it.
That's so weird.
Yeah. So, I was thinking this is going to be a 2-parter, but it might just be a 1-parter.
Okay.
Might be a little bit longer. So, on May 10, 1969, 2 fishermen discovered what they believed to be a large parcel floating beneath the surface of the water in a shallow section of Long Tom River. Upon closer inspection, they discovered the parcel was actually bound and bloated body of a young woman clad in a coat weighed down by a large gearbox with copper wiring twisted in a manner in which electrical lines. The body was identified as Linda Salee. Due to the extent of decomposition, a subsequent autopsy was unable to determine whether she had been raped, although the coroner didn't rule her death as being due to strangulation. In addition, her autopsy revealed needle marks encircled by burning on each side of the rib cage, but close to the armpits, which had evidently been inflicted after death. 2 days later, underwater SAR teams, search and rescue teams, headed to the area and discovered the body of Karen Sprinker, approximately 20 yards from where Salee's body had been found. Her body was similarly weighted in the riverbed, in this case by the 6-cylinder head. She had been bound precisely the same cord, copper wire, as Salee had been found. Sprinker's autopsy determined she had died either from smothering or strangulation, and her body was mutilated from Brudos. She was also found wearing clothes that did not match for her. Like, she was wearing bra sizes that were not consistent, even though she was mutilated. So it's just Brudos dumping her in there.
Yeah.
She had also there was just they find all this, and the investigation begins naturally.
Of course, yes.
The most prominent factors in linking the deaths of Salee and Sprinkler to the same perpetrator were the facts that both young women had been bound with the same brand of electrical flex that had both been weighted down with car components, suggesting the murderer had been an electrician or a mechanic. In an effort to trace the origin of auto components, several officers questioned the employees and perpetrators in garages in the junkyards in Western Oregon. Upon formally identifying both women, investigators also began questioning their family members and acquaintances. Police questioning of Sprinkler's fellow students at Oregon State University revealed several female students have received phone calls in recent months from a man claiming to be a Vietnam veteran who had been asked to take them on dates. This man had used various aliases. Almost all had either refused or simply hung up the phone. However, one had recently taken up a degree of pity and allowed the man to take her on a date. She described this man as being Caucasian, in his late 20s, early 30s, slightly overweight, with thinning blondish red hair and freckles. His vehicle had been a dirty station wagon with kids' clothes in it, leading her to believe the man was actually married. That man being Jerry Brudos. The date itself had been largely unpleasant experience, and Brudos had sensed the student's increasingly unease in his presence, at one point indicating she had a reason to be wary, stating, quote, "Think of those two girls who were found in the river." Saying that on a date.
That's fucking crazy.
It's fucking...
That's like... Ugh.
Listen, that's like the worst possible thing. Like, well, like...
Even if you weren't
a fucking
affiliated
the serial killer?
with
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Yes.
Don't bring it up.
Yeah.
Unless you guys are talking about, like, it's modern day, you guys are talking about true crime.
Yeah.
And you're having a date, and, like, you're like, so what do you think of the psychology of this killer? Like, well, this killer... And then, like, don't just be like, it's crazy. That happened. And it's like, shut the fuck up, dude.
Yeah.
You're fucking insane. Get me the fuck out of here. Upon driving her home at the end of the date, he asked her why she had changed her mind and agreed to accompany him, to which she replied she had been curious. According to the student, Brutus replied, "How did you know I wouldn't take you to the river and strangle you?"
I hate everything about that. Everything.
It's fucking terrifying.
Yeah.
He's a terrifying man.
Yeah.
Despite her desire to never accompany Brutus on another date, the student had not outwardly told him of this intention. Investigators asked her to contact them if the man ever again called her to ask for a date. The girl agreed. 1 week after the discovery of Sally's body on May 18th, Brudos again contacted the younger woman. He was arrested as he walked towards the agreed rendezvous that evening. Got snatched up. Brudos provided police with his correct name, age, occupation, but gave a false address with no legal basis to detain him. He was soon released from custody, although a background check revealed his history of physical and sexual violence towards women, and a search of the vehicle database records revealed that he resided in the district of Portland, where Linda Slauson had been last seen alive. And upon discovering Brudos' actual address, investigators discovered he currently resided just blocks from where Karen Sprinkler had been abducted. All signs point to Brudos.
Yeah.
Furthermore, although Brudos did not drive a Volkswagen, Carmen Gia, I think I said that correct, which is the vehicle, the green vehicle, investigators discovered his mother owned such a vehicle, and that he had been in possession of the car on April 22nd, the date of the attempted abduction of Gloria Smith.
Okay.
Smith herself possibly identified Brudos as the man who attempted to abduct her. This information was deemed sufficient for probable cause to obtain a search warrant of the Brudos property. Yeah.
That's not going to go well for him.
Oh, no. So, 8 days after Brudos' initial arrest on May 26, everybody fucking rolls up. And they hit him with a search warrant. Stowed within his garage, authorities discovered a large cache of women's lingerie, footwear, and a list of phone numbers of sorority houses and college girls' living quarters, and numerous photographs of young women, some alive, some obviously deceased. Almost all the photographs have been taken within Brudos' garage, including several depictions of deceased women hanging from this garage pulley with a mirror laid horizontally upon the floor, directly beneath her feet. In one image, the reflection of the mirror depicted Brudos holding his Polaroid, indicating he had been the one taking the photographs.
Things aren't looking very good for him, tell you what.
Oh, no. They're not. So, one of the individuals depicted in these photographs was rapidly identified as Karen Sprinkler. She was depicted standing nude save for high-heeled slippers with an expression of stern fear, contemplation, and or apparent resignation on her face. Several female breasts coated with epoxy, also discovering the mantle in the living room. They start finding human remains. They start finding these obvious photographs of their victims. And other victims. Start finding everything.
Yeah.
pretty quick. Police also discovered a coil of copper wiring determined to be of precisely the same type used to bind the bodies of Linda Saley and Karen Sprinker to the engine components prior to their disposal in the Long Tom River. One length of rope confiscated by investigators was tied in precisely the same manner used to bind the victims' bodies. In addition, numerous engine components were scattered and stowed around the garage. These discoveries deemed sufficient to place Brudo under constant surveillance.
Surprise.
Surprise. So, May 26th, the search warrant happens, right?
Yeah.
3 days pass. By May 29th, 1969, investigators had amassed sufficient evidence relating to the attempted abduction of Gloria Smith to arrest Brudos for this offense as inquiries into the murders continued. He was discovered by highway patrol officers hiding beneath a blanket in the rear of the family station wagon as his wife drove the vehicle towards Portland. She's not asking any questions?
No. Apparently not.
Apparently not. The following evening, Brudo placed a phone call to his wife asking for her to destroy further incriminating evidence, although his wife refused this request. Probably because you'll go to prison forever.
Yeah.
Following the second arrest, Brudos was extensively questioned about his regarding developments pertaining to discoveries within his garage and the connection in regards to the missing and murdered young women, 3 of whom investigators had positively identified as Whitney Sprinkler and Saley. Saley. S-A-L-E. Saley?
I'm not sure.
I'm not quite sure. I think it's Saley. Saley. He initially denied involvement in these cases, dismissing evidence as circumstantial. That's not what that means, dipshit. There's literally a photograph of him taking a photograph of this woman that was murdered.
No, but see, the thing is you don't understand the circumstances behind it.
Yeah, he just murdered him after. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about? It's not circumstantial, dipshit.
Circumstantial.
After several days, gradually divulging his erotic fetishes and outlining how deeply ingrained they had become within his psyche and subsequently severely impacting his daily life. By early June, Brudos had provided investigators with a full confession to all 4 murders, which he subsequently outlined police and later psychologists. He began by outlining the opportunistic murders of Linda Swanson, whose name he was not able to recollect, which he had not been linked to him, and which he admitted he had been instigated largely because of the fact that she was wearing high-heeled shoes. And she had accidentally entered his property trying to sell the encyclopedias. So that was his reasoning behind committing the first murder.
Of course, yeah.
Although Brudos acknowledged the ultimate responsibility for his crimes, he remained somewhat resistant when questioned in regards to the aspects and reasoning and premeditation, simply stating at one stage, quote, "There must be something wrong with me." Yeah, Jerry, you fucking think?
No shit.
I think so too, Jerry. Jerry, you know what I think you need? You know what I think you need, Jerry?
What?
A trip to Old Smoky. I think that's what you need.
Yeah.
You need a trip to Old Smoky.
Yeah.
Shipping him in from Texas. I'm gonna hook it up. Right in the front lawn of the fucking apartment. He later denied harboring a hatred for women, but admitted to the act of killing enabled him to, quote, let off steam.
No, he hates women.
Fucking clearly. What other killer that we have done that said this something similar? There's another killer that we did. Like another serial killer was like, I don't hate women. And it's like, that was your fucking target demographic, was women.
A lot of the serial killers that we cover have a target demographic of women.
Yeah, I may be a monster, but I don't hate women. It's like, what the fuck, dude? Does it matter at that point?
I know I killed like 30 women, but I don't hate them.
At what point does it not matter? You know? Like if you hate women or not.
Nonetheless, you're fucking lying.
Clearly.
Clearly you don't like women.
Clearly.
Clearly you hate women if you're murdering.
Yes.
That's just how that works.
Clearly. So the psychiatrist who examined Brudos concluded he was unable to achieve satisfaction from normal intercourse and that his overriding motive behind his crimes was lust, adding that even in cases where Brudos had killed women he encountered in moments of opportunism, he had known he would ultimately murder his victim. Photographs Brudos had taken of the two of his victims were closely matched to the victims discovered in the Long Tom River, and his description of Whitney and her abduction matched sufficiently with circumstances surrounding her in November 1968 abduction to identify her as his second murder victim. Although Slauson initially remained known as Jane Doe, he was appointed to an attorney named Dale Drake, and an arraignment hearing was scheduled for 9 a.m. on June 4th, 1969. So, on June 4th, they come into the fucking courthouse, right? And in response to entering a plea of not guilty by reason of insanity at initial arraignment, Brudos was subsequently subjected to a battery of psychiatric examinations by several doctors who unanimously concluded that he was sane and he's a fucking asshole. So they're like,
I knew that wasn't gonna work for him.
Guess what, bud? We're going to trial.
Oh my God.
So, he 3 days before trial was scheduled to commence. 3 days before trial was set to commence, Brudos entered a plea of guilty to the 3 counts of first-degree murder by Marion County Circuit Court Judge Val D. Sloper. He was subsequently sentenced to 3 consecutive terms of life imprisonment with possibility of parole by the Oregon State Penitentiary. With parole.
Huh.
How about no?
Yeah.
How about no?
I think no is a good option.
I listen, I can understand if this was a case of maybe it was a man who he was on drugs and he's fighting with another man and he fucking stabbed a guy and he's on drugs and then he's like, what have I done?
Yeah.
And he regrets it. It's like, you're still going in for murder. 20 years.
With the possibility.
Possibility of parole. I get that. You know, it's like, they come out of the prison. They're like, I'm going to do everything that I can to try to right my wrong.
Yeah.
But he's a fucking serial killer. He is a fucking danger to the public.
He's murdered 4 women and abducted or attempted to abduct several more.
Throw him away. Just fucking, I don't know, put him in a goddamn box and toss him into in a shipping container and then put that shipping container into a fucking boat and then sink that bitch. I don't care.
Or, hear me out,
Feed him to lions. What?
throw him in the Willamette River.
Too good for him.
It's fair.
Drop him in fucking Gen Pop. Drop him in Gen Pop and they go, this guy's a child diddler, and then just fucking peace out. And then all the guards just fucking turns off the cameras.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened. It could have been anybody.
It could have been anyone.
Could have been anyone. So, despite Brudos' insistence his wife had known nothing about any of his crimes and his insistence that he had forced her to drive the family station wagon from the home on the date of his arrest as he laid in the back of the vehicle on August 7, 1969, Ralphine Brudos was formally indicted for the first-degree murder of Karen Sprinker.
Oh.
These charges initially filed in relation to an eyewitness account from an individual who claimed to have seen Brudos' wife assisting him in forcing a blanket-covered young woman into the property on the date of Sprinker's disappearance. Ralphine denied all knowledge of the crime, and that eyewitness account was refuted by other witnesses at the September 1969 trial, and she was acquitted of all charges the following month.
Oh.
I don't know. I think she knew something.
I think she knew something, but I don't think she helped.
I don't think she fucking killed him.
Yeah.
I don't think she did that. I think she was involved in some sort of way.
Maybe in
That's
some
my
sort of
opinion.
way. Yeah. I mean, who knows? She is snoring, yes.
Okay, I was like, what is that noise that's picking up on the mics? I don't know if we'll be able to hear that. But the dog is snoring very loud.
She's tired.
So he gets sentenced to these 3 consecutive life with possibly parole.
Yeah.
In the following years, Brudos became a model prisoner.
Don't care.
Don't care. Assigned to clerical duties by the 1970s, he was later utilized his electrical skills to maintain the prisoner's computer record system, installed a cable television network, in addition to being entrusted with stocking, repairing, and maintaining the prison's vending machines. As a convicted sex offender, Brudos is known to have endured several physical assaults by fellow inmates, although each instance he refused to name his assailants. Probably because they were going to be like, if you say anything, I'm going to fucking kill you. They beat the fucking brakes off this dude a lot.
Well,
A lot. And it brings me so much joy. You know, like...
I don't really feel bad.
No, because you know there was a dude that's in there that's like life without parole. And he's like, what are you going to do? Fucking send me to prison? I'm already here. I'm going to beat the shit out of this guy for as long as I can and as often as I can. Because you know what? He's a fucking pussy and he's not going to say anything. Because he knows if he says anything, I'm going to fucking kill him. Like, and he's in
What are
Brudos.
you going to do? I'm already here with life without parole, so.
Uh-huh.
Oh no, you're going to add another fucking 10 years?
Yeah. It's like that one dude, I can't remember what his name is, but there was a dude who was in prison for life, and then he got a cellmate who was in there for like child diddling.
Yeah.
And he was like, and his roommate or his cellmate was like kind of bragging about it, and he kept telling him like, shut the fuck up. And then he wouldn't shut the fuck up, so he was like, all right, I'll make you shut up, and just came down there and beat his fucking head in, like smashed his head in.
Oh my God.
And then it was like, guards? And the guards came in, they're like, what the fuck? And he's like, he wouldn't shut up. So I fucking killed him. And then when he went into his arraignment, he told that story, and he's like, he goes, if you're gonna ask him sorry, I'm not. And I was like, that dude's fucking scary as fuck, but that guy's kind of awesome. He's like, should have shut his fucking mouth. Yeah, there's been so many stories I've heard of. Like, there's a I'm getting off topic, but there was like a TikToker I follow who served like 10 years in Oregon State Pen.
Oh, I think I follow the same guy.
Yeah, and people would come in and be like, give me your packet. And then be like, I don't know if I want to give you a packet. And they're like, do you want to live tonight? Because if you don't give me your fucking packet that shows your charges, they're like, I guess you're not going to fucking breathe air in the morning. And then they'd be like, oh, that's why you're in here? Great. You're still not breathing air in the morning. And then we'd just like be like, you're fucking dead. If the guards don't get here in time, I'm going to fucking stab you to death. And then guess what? Nothing's going to happen to me. I'm just going to go to the hole.
Oh no.
Fucking woes me. Yeah. So, what's even more insane about this entire story when he gets to prison?
Yeah.
He's a model prisoner who gives a shit, gets beat up a lot, which is awesome and hilarious. Brings me so much joy that he is just in fear all the time, just waiting for someone to come out of the shadows and just be like, Jerry, and then just beat the fucking brakes off him and be like, don't fucking say anything. See you tomorrow.
Yeah.
You know? For some fucking reason, they let him get mail order catalogs depicting women modeling high heel shoes and underwear, which he then just compulsively masturbates over. They just let him have that.
I don't think you're supposed to do that. Hello?
That's interesting. They just come completely undone. It's great.
It's fine. It's fine.
So, Brudos attended numerous parole hearings throughout his confinement, although family members of his victims repeatedly attended these scheduled hearings in which they requested his remain incarceration for the duration of his life. He was informed on June 21st, 1995 that he would suspend the remainder of his life in prison. Nonetheless, Brudos continued to attend informal parole hearings every 2 years for the remainder of his life while incarcerated. Brudos granted several interviews with numerous professionals, one of which being the Marion County detective named Jim Byrons, who hold on. Here's what I'm gonna do.
Okay.
Stop it.
You want that unplugged?
Yes.
Okay.
Just pick it up a lot. So one of which was with a detective, in which Brudos regarding compassion or remorse, in which he asked the question like, "Do you feel remorse, Jerry? Do you feel sorry for the victims, for the girls who died?" In response, Brudo picked up a section of newspaper from the table between the two. He crunched the section into a paper ball and threw the ball onto the floor, replying, quote, "That much. I care about those girls as much as I care about the piece of watered up paper."
Disgusting.
He says he doesn't hate women.
I don't believe him.
I don't fucking believe him either. A psychiatrist like Michael H. Stone identified Brudos as having a psychopathic personality.
Shocker.
Fucking blows my mind. Crazy. Noting his callousness and lack of remorse for his crimes. I'm fucking shocked that he's a psychopath.
That's crazy. It's never happened before.
And on March 28th, 2006 at 5:10 a.m., Jerry Brudos fucking dies
Good.
of liver cancer in the Oregon State Penitentiary. At the time of his death, he was 67 years old and the longest incarcerated inmate in the Oregon State Corrections, having served a total of 37 years in prison.
Oh, jeez.
I feel like he got out pretty easy.
Yeah.
I was kind of hoping it would, because I know how he died already before telling this story.
Yeah.
But I was always kind of hoping it would be like a Dahmer situation. You know?
Yeah.
He's in the weight room, and then he's just like, "I'm gonna crush this dude's fucking head," and then just like, "Gah!"
Yeah.
You know? But
Take what you can get.
Take what I can get. Right? He's fucking dead.
Yeah.
Which is great. Upon receipt of the news of Brudos' death, the younger sister of Jan Whitney informed a reporter, quote, "As soon as I heard he was dead, I started crying. It wasn't for him. It was for our family. He put our family through hell. You were never really the same." The sentiment was echoed by one of the detectives assigned to the case, James Stovall, who stated, quote, "I'm just satisfied he has died. It's good riddance. He was a true monster." Glad that detective has the same fucking feeling I have about it. Thank God that this dude is fucking dead.
Yeah.
Shortly after Brudos' arrest, his wife, Ralphine, was charged with being accessory to murder in one of her husband's crime, despite the assistance, no abductions or murders. Brudos' children were taken into state care. Teresa Brudos, age 7, was instructed to undergo questioning by her mother's trial. Following her October's 1969 acquittal, Ralphine Brudos regained custody of her children. She divorced and ultimately severed all contact with her husband, changing her name relocating to an undisclosed state, although Brudos professed his love for her and remained in his life. No. How about no? Brudos was never brought to trial for the murder of Linda Slauson, though he confessed to Slauson's murder, and several Polaroid photographs discovered in his garage corroborated his admissions to have photographed her appendages. He was never tried for her murder due to insufficient real evidence, because although Brudos retained photographs of her lower legs, ankles, feet, he had not photographed other areas of her body after death. As such, the photographs could not be proven taken in life or death.
Yeah.
But he confessed to it. We'll take that as a win.
Yeah.
Jan Whitney's body was found submerged in William River in Independence, Oregon, exactly 1 month after Brudos' conviction. Her body was recovered approximately 1 mile downstream from the location where Brudos had indicated to investigators he disposed of her body, and she was identified via dental records. The body of Linda Slauson was never found. Fortunately. But that is the story of Jerry Dickless Brudos.
That's a lot.
Well, a 2-hour episode.
Yeah.
It's a long episode.
It is a long episode.
Did it for you. Extra long.
It makes up for last week.
Yes, very sorry. Very busy. But any thoughts, questions, comments,
Not that I can think of.
concerns?
I mean, I'm very concerned about all of it, but
Yeah, it's fucking horrifying.
that's wild.
And it's so strange too, because like when for the ghost hunting series that I'm hopefully gonna push out hopefully this weekend, not this weekend but like the following one, we went into Forest Park to investigate the Witch's Castle area, and that area is known as Murder Park, and I was talking about the murders that took place in there, and when you're walking through a place like that and you're like, this is where like a serial killer operated out of.
Yeah.
And when you go to Salem, you walk around, like it's just a fucking cute little town, little city.
Yeah.
You know? Like, yeah, I mean every city has crime.
Always.
We'll always have crime. But then you're like, this dude was just operating here. Like
Yeah.
I mean, we know that he killed 4.
Yeah.
That we know of.
Right.
You know? He didn't really seem really too keen on a lot of details for shit. Like maybe who knows if he did more.
He
don't know.
absolutely could have.
But he's dead,
Good.
which is great. God, I hope he was just afraid all the time. That's all I could hope for when he got in prison.
Fucking hopefully.
Because I guarantee that happened when he got into prison, when they were like, give me your papers. He was like, what? And they're like, yeah. And then they found out, and then they're like, hey, everybody.
Guess what?
Mm-hmm. And then he was just getting fucking beat, and just constantly until he fucking died of cancer.
That's what happens.
Yep.
Piece of shit.
Mm-hmm. Fucking
Crazy.
piece of shit. But that's our episode. Fucking wild ride.
Yeah.
We did it. Bada boom, bada bing.
Did it.
We're gonna probably do Beyond the Omens at some point. I don't have a scheduled date for them, but I want to kind of start doing weekly. Probably be like 30-minute, 45 minutes, maybe an hour episodes. You'll see when they come out. We're gonna talk about stuff. Talk about serial killers. Be like a more relaxed episode, not really any particular topics. Just kind of talk about weird stuff, spooky stuff. You know, it's like a doc for you and me, except I don't talk about my butthole. I might. I might talk about my butthole.
He's gonna talk about his butthole.
Now, when I was a boy,
I don't like where that's.
We'll cut the cameras and I'll talk about my butthole. It's fine. I know you're thinking about it. Dog's asleep.
She's so asleep. I can't even wake her up for the outro.
Yeah. But you can follow us on our socials: HGOPodcast, Instagram, TikTok, Threads. It's on there. Check it out. Send us your scary story, whether it's real life or fiction, whatever you see fit. Send us hate mail, whatever you like. HGOPodcast@gmail.com. Please do. I would love to see it. If you want to follow me directly, you can.
Sorry.
At I Hunt the Haunted on Instagram. I am also Twitch streaming yet again. It is happening. I've been doing it sporadically. There's no set schedule, so just subscribe or follow on Twitch. Twitch.tv/IHuntTheHaunted. I'll be doing some spooky games, and I'll probably do, like, if we can get enough people kind of get in there, getting stuff going, I'll probably even do, like, a spooky little watch party, and we'll check out some really cool alien footage and ghost footage. But I'm going to pass it off to my loving fiance.
Hi, it's me. It's Taylor. Hi. You can follow me on Instagram and TikTok at Lunar Thrill. That's about all I got. That's all I'm on. I'm trying to post on TikTok more. It's it's going, kind of. If you want to see more about our dog, not that I don't post enough about my dog anyways, you can follow her directly at Spirit the Tarv on Instagram. She's dead asleep down here. Like, there's nothing going on. She's doing her best.
She is doing her best.
Her best is real sleepy right now.
She is every time I come away with mine.
She's not even waking up for that. Like,
You're just twitching. But my ghost and ghouls, my spooky, weird friends that watch this podcast, all of you weirdos, I fucking love you. God damn so much. We're almost at episode 150.
that's wild.
Great. Well, almost like 3 years of Haunts, Graves, and Omens.
Yeah, that'll be like next week or something like that.
Something like that. And, yeah. We'll throw a party or something. Just like me and you. And then we just drink a bunch, and I'm like, let me tell you about Ghost.
That sounds like a Wednesday night.
It sounds like almost every other night.
That sounds really weird. Our weekends are on Wednesdays and Thursdays. We don't have normal weekends.
No. I guess you can say I'm a bit strange and unusual. But my ghosts and ghouls, remember to stay spooky.
Stay haunted.
And fuck Jerry Brudos.
Mm-hmm.
Spit on his grave. Piss on him.
Do it.
Please.
Why not?